The humpback whale. Humpback whales embark upon one of the longest annual migrations of any mammal. The average migration route of a humpback whale is some 5,000 kilometers long. This species can be found in all of the world's oceans. Populations of humpback whales in the southern hemisphere spend time feeding in Antarctica during the summer months. Every year during late fall, they migrate from here to their winter breeding and calving grounds in warmer Pacific waters, returning south in the spring. Northern Pacific humpback whales migrate from the icy Alaskan waters during autumn to the waters off Hawaii. To reach their destination, the whales swim non-stop for 6 to 8 weeks. Mother whales who are nursing their calves arrive first, usually in late November. Next, they are joined by adult male whales. Finally, pregnant whales who stayed behind to feed until the very last minute join the group. While at their Hawaiian winter home, humpback whales breed as well as nurture their young. Humpback whales were once an abundant species. However, by the mid-1800s, they were all but depleted due to hunting. The species reached an all-time low population of less than 1,000 in 1965. Since then, efforts have been made to restore the humpback whales' former numbers by protecting some of their habitats and by the introduction of a worldwide ban on whale hunting in 1986. Number 4. The monarch-butterfly. Because monarch butterflies cannot survive the cold temperatures characteristic of a typical North American winter, they travel south and west during the fall to access more habitable temperatures. Most migrations begin during October, but if the weather cools even sooner, the species may depart sooner. Typically, they spend the winter in Southern California and Mexico, places where it is warm year-round. Migration routes are up to 3,000 miles long, and monarchs can travel between 50 and 100 miles per day. Their journey takes up to 2 months to complete. Monarch butterflies must return north during the spring because the plants their larvae feed on do not grow in the areas where they spend the winter. The traveling population usually arrives at their northern destinations in the United States and parts of Canada sometime during June. This species is the only butterfly known to make a two-way migration. The migration length of the monarch butterfly is longer than its actual lifespan, meaning that no single monarch butterfly completes the cycle. During their time spent up north, 2 to 3 generations of monarchs are born and pass away. Number 3. Dragonflies. Monarch butterflies aren't the only insect whose migration cycle is longer than their lifespan. Dragonflies have the longest known migration of any insect, and it takes up to 4 generations to complete it. According to a 2009 claim by biologist Charles Anderson, which was published in the Journal of Tropical Ecology, millions of dragonflies make the annual trek from southern India to Africa. This migration is not only the longest insect migration, but the first among insects that occurs across open ocean water. Anderson first noticed the dragonflies passing through in 1983, the year he arrived in the Maldives. Their presence was peculiar since the 1,200-island archipelago, which lies between 500 and 1,000 kilometers from mainland India, almost completely lacks surface freshwater, which dragonflies need to survive. With a little more digging, Anderson was able to establish what seemed like a clear timeline of north to south travel among the dragonflies. The insects first arrived in the Maldives during October, and their presence peaked between November and December. Each wave of dragonflies stayed for no more than a few days. Then, between April and June, they reappeared. Later research showed that the dragonflies migrate up to 4,400 miles through the air without landing. Not all dragonflies make the entire journey non-stop, however, and some take pit stops to lay eggs and breed along the way. According to scientists, there are indicators that the dragonflies travel along with moisture, which is a necessary component of their breeding environment. Number 2. Chinook salmon. This seemingly unexciting species of fish is actually pretty fascinating because it swims 3,000 kilometers upstream to spawn or lay eggs where it was born. The Chinook salmon, also known as the king salmon, spring salmon, June hog, and blackmouth, spends up to 2 years in freshwater after hatching. During this time, they live primarily in freshwater bodies ranging from big rivers to small streams. Then, the salmon migrates to the nutritionally rich waters of the Pacific, where it spends between 2 and 5 years reaching its large size, feasting on prey like herring, squid, and sand lice. When it comes time to breed, this fish returns to its original birthplace. The migration of the Chinook salmon is short-lived, as the species is semiparous, which means that they die after spawning just once. Unfortunately, human activity has interfered with the thriving of the chinook salmon species, much like it has with many other animals. Juveniles and adults alike are often prevented from reaching their appropriate habitats due to barriers such as road culverts and dams. Number 1. The red crab of Christmas Island. 14 species of land crab can be found on Christmas Island, but of them, the red crab is the most well known. Somewhere between 40 and 50 million red crabs dwell in shady areas throughout the island. The crabs migrate to the coast together once annually to breed. Their migration occurs at the beginning of the wet season and is also tied to the phases of the moon, and usually occurs in October or November. Males arrive before females, and the journey typically takes over a week total. Once they arrive on shore, the males dig burrows which they defend against one another. Once the females arrive, couples mate near the burrows. The males then return to the island's forests while the females remain in the burrows for another few weeks, laying and incubating their eggs. Females lay their eggs in the ocean at the high tide during the last quarter of the moon, and us humans thought that we were complicated. The women's work is done after that, and they return to the forest. After hatching, the crab larvae spend between 3 and 4 weeks at sea. Then, as juvenile crabs, they return to the land. The migration of red crabs is so significant, many roads in Christmas Island are closed or blocked to ensure their safety. Thanks for watching! Aren't these migrations amazing? Remember to subscribe before you leave and come on over and say hi on my new Instagram. See you next time. Bye!